Imagine you have a neighbor named Uncle Bernie. Everyone loves Bernie. He's the smartest guy on the block. He tells you he has a magic box. If you give him $10 today, he'll give you $11 next month. Guaranteed. No matter if it's raining, snowing, or the world is ending, the box always spits out more money. Soon, everyone is giving Bernie their lunch money. Your teacher, your doctor, even the guy who owns the local bank. For 40 years, the magic box never fails. Bernie becomes the king of Wall Street. He's rich, he's powerful, and he's the most trusted man in finance. But then, one day, the world gets scary. Everyone gets worried and runs to Bernie's house. They all want their $10 back at the same time. Bernie opens the box, and it's empty. There was no magic. There were no investments. There was just a giant pile of lies and $65 billion that vanished into thin air. This is the story of Bernie Madoff, the man who pulled off the largest financial heist in human history by turning the world's smartest investors into his own personal ATM. And the wildest part? He didn't do it with a mask and a gun. He did it with a computer and a smile. To understand how one man tricked the entire planet, we have to rewind to the beginning. It's 1960. Bernie Madoff isn't a villain yet. He's a hustler. He starts his own investment firm with just $5,000 he made working as a lifeguard. He's a pioneer. He helps build the technology that becomes the NASDAQ, the giant digital stock market we use today. Bernie becomes a legend. He's so respected that he's literally the chairman of the NASDAQ. Imagine the guy who makes the rules for the game also being a player in the game. That was Bernie. When people looked at him, they didn't see a scammer. They saw the gold standard of Wall Street. He was the Disneyland for adults. If you had money with Bernie, you were part of the 1%. It was exclusive. It was prestigious. People would beg him to take their money. He'd say, "I'm not sure if I have room for you," which only made them want to give him more. So, how did the magic box actually work? Welcome to the Ponzi scheme. It's the financial equivalent of saying, "I'll marry you," even though we've only been on 2 dates. In a normal investment, you give your money to a broker. They buy pieces of companies like Apple or Amazon. If those companies do well, your money grows. Simple. But Bernie didn't buy anything. He didn't have a secret strategy. He had a checking account. Meet Bob. Bob gives Bernie $100. Bernie puts it in a bank account and does nothing. A month later, Bob wants his 10% profit. So Bernie takes $10 from Alice, a new investor, and gives it to Bob. Bob is happy. He tells everyone Bernie is a genius. This is called robbing Peter to pay Paul. As long as new people keep giving Bernie money, the magic box keeps working. Bernie's investment strategy was just a giant game of musical chairs. But instead of chairs, he was playing with people's retirement funds, charities, and life savings. He even printed out fake statements. Every month, you'd get a letter in the mail showing you were getting rich. It was beautiful. It was professional. It was also 100% fiction. Bernie was basically the author of a 40-year-long fantasy novel, and the world was his audience. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, isn't there a police force for the stock market? Yes, the SEC. And for decades, they were asleep at the wheel. There was one man, an analyst named Harry Markopolos. He was the Roger Babson of the Madoff era. In 1999, he looked at Bernie's numbers and realized the math was impossible. It was like saying a car could drive 1,000 miles on a single gallon of gas. He sent reports to the SEC titled, "The world's largest hedge fund is a fraud." He told them exactly how Bernie was doing it. He shouted from the rooftops. Wall Street's response? They told Harry to go touch grass. Bernie was too big to be a liar. He was Uncle Bernie. The SEC investigated Bernie multiple times, and every time, they walked into his office, ate his cookies and said, "Everything looks great, Bernie." The system didn't want to believe it, because if Bernie was a lie, then the whole stock market felt like a lie. The entire scam relied on one assumption, that everyone wouldn't want their money back at the same time. In 2008, that assumption broke. The housing market crashed. Banks like Lehman Brothers disappeared overnight. Panic spread like a black blizzard. People were terrified. They didn't want magic box profits anymore. They wanted their original $10 back. Investors asked Bernie for $7 billion in 1 week. Bernie looked at his bank account. He didn't have $7 billion. He didn't even have $7. The duct tape holding the global financial system together was peeling, and Bernie was out of tape. On December 10, 2008, Bernie sat his 2 sons down in his luxury apartment. He didn't talk about stocks. He didn't talk about the Nasdaq. He looked at them and said, "It's all just one big lie." His sons, who worked for him but supposedly didn't know about the scam, turned him in the next morning. The roaring 2000s, for Bernie, hadn't just ended. They had face planted into a brick wall. Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison. He died behind bars in 2021. He woke up rich and went to bed broke, but he took thousands of people down with him. The total damage? $65 billion. Gone. It wasn't just monopoly money. It was pension funds for teachers. It was charities for the sick. It was grandpa's bonds and Aunt Margaret's savings. Gone. But here is the scary truth. Traditional financial media loves to talk about Bernie as a one-time monster. But the mechanics of a Ponzi scheme are still hiding in plain sight. Whether it's unprofitable tech IPOs or manufactured demand in index funds, the goal is often the same: to find someone to buy in at a higher price so the early people can get out. In the world of big finance, if you don't know who the exit liquidity is, it's probably you. Your 401k, your retirement account, your savings, they are the oxygen the market breathes. And when that oxygen gets tight, the people at the top have already found the exit. Bernie Madoff didn't just break the law. He proved that the system is only as strong as our willingness to ask, how does this actually make money? So, next time someone offers you a magic box that never loses, remember Uncle Bernie, because the real threats in the market aren't the loud ones. The real threats are the ones that look too good to be true and smile while they're saying it.